Tomato, scientifically identified as Solanum lycopersicum, is one of the most consumed fruits worldwide, with global output exceeding hundreds of millions of tons annually. Today, it appears in sauces, stews, soups, salads, juices, canned products, ready meals, dried concentrates, and commercial food preserves. Yet its widespread presence was not always the case. Historically, tomato had a long journey before becoming a core food ingredient. Tomato originates from western South America, particularly regions corresponding to modern Peru, Ecuador, Bolivia, and northern Chile. However, domestication began in Mesoamerica, where indigenous cultures cultivated versions of small cherry-like tomatoes long before European arrival. Early depictions appear in pre-Columbian botanical documentation, and linguistic connections show that the Aztec term, tomatal, became the foundation of the modern word. After the Spanish conquest, tomatoes were transported into Europe, where their reception was highly conflicted. Because tomatoes belong to the same botanical family as deadly nightshade, European botanists speculated they were toxic. Their bright red color reinforced suspicion due to symbolic associations with poison and blood. For nearly 200 years, tomatoes were ornamental plants in European gardens rather than food crops. A turning point occurred in the 17th and 18th centuries when culinary experimentation increased. Southern Europe embraced tomato earlier, particularly Italy and Spain, due to appropriate soil, climate, and preservation traditions involving olive oil, herbs, and vinegar. Tomatoes' high acidity worked harmoniously with regional flavors, and its adaptable chemistry transformed cooking methods fundamentally. Botanically, tomato contains lycopene, a carotenoid responsible for its red pigmentation. Lycopene is a biologically active antioxidant with measurable effects on cellular oxygenation processes. Unlike most nutrients that degrade when cooked, lycopene becomes more bioavailable after heating. This helps explain the cultural rise of cooked tomato dishes such as sauces, purees, and soups. Furthermore, tomatoes supply vitamin C, potassium, beta-carotene, flavonoids, glutamic acid, and organic acids such as citric and malic acids. Glutamic acid is key to tomatoes' reputation as a natural umami source. When cooked, glutamic acid transforms into free glutamate bonds, intensifying savory depth. Tomatoes also contain natural pectin, although in lower concentration than apples or citrus. When reduced with heat, pectin activates and thickens sauces naturally. This phenomenon contributes to the silkiness of traditional Italian passata, slow-cooked ragu, marinara, shakshuka base, and Spanish sofrito. Agriculturally, tomato evolved through selective breeding into thousands of cultivars. Heirloom tomatoes preserve ancient genetic diversity with irregular colors, ribbed textures, and intensified sweetness. Meanwhile, hybrid commercial varieties developed structural firmness, uniformity, and transport durability. Tomatoes are now grown in open fields, soil-less systems, controlled temperature greenhouses, and hydroponic environments. Hydroponic cultivation transformed tomato mass production efficiency. Using nutrient-dense water circulation, plants yield predictable fruits independent of climate variation. Netherlands, Israel, Turkey, Italy, China, and Mexico represent major controlled agriculture centers. The tomato also shaped economics. Industrial processing, canned tomato puree, tomato paste, tomato concentrate, ketchup, and sauce mixes became billion-dollar sectors. Modern supply chains rely on standardized solids content, acidity measurement, and viscosity calibration. Brix value, representing sugar concentration, defines processing quality and price. Culturally, the tomato has become rooted across multiple cuisines. Italian food relies on tomato base as a defining element. India uses tomato to deepen curries. Latin American cooking incorporates tomato in salsa roja and caldo structures. Middle Eastern dishes use tomato with bulgur, eggplant, and chickpeas. American culinary identity adopted the tomato in diner culture, meatloaf sauces, chili bases, and condiments. Heat also reshapes tomato flavor compounds molecularly. Raw tomato delivers sharp acidity, grassy top notes, and mild sweetness. Roasted tomato turns smoky, deep, and caramelized, losing surface acidity. Sun-dried tomato underwent enzymatic drying processes historically, creating intensified umami, preserved sugars, salted edges, and concentrated aroma. At the sensory level, tomato flavor comes from nearly 400 volatile compounds that appear in microscopic concentrations. These compounds interact with sugar-acid ratios, creating wide taste variations between cultivars. The paradox of tomato is its identity shift. Originally undervalued, originally feared, originally symbolic rather than culinary, now it is essential to kitchens worldwide. It transitioned from ethnobotanical crop to universal ingredient. It is also scientifically prominent, used in genetic sequencing projects and agricultural climate optimization studies. Tomato's journey represents agricultural innovation, dietary evolution, biological design, and cultural fusion. Understanding this fruit means tracking global exchange networks, plant domestication, nutritional chemistry, and shifting culinary values. From ancient Mesoamerican fields to supermarket aisles across every continent, tomato stands as one of humanity's most transformative foods.